Over the 4.5 billion years of the Earth's existence, millions of different creatures with specific characteristics have already managed to walk on its surface. While new species of animals are gradually appearing on the planet, others have already managed to finally disappear. And when it comes to extinct creatures, dinosaurs immediately come to mind. These creatures lived millions of years ago, when the climate on Earth and the location of the continents differed significantly from the present. What conditions did dinosaurs have to live in? In what climate? Climate change according to the Wilson cycle. To disclose the main topic of the article in full, it is required to dive into the historical background and familiarize yourself with some facts. Over time, the climate on the planet changes according to the Wilson cycle. Gradually, the overall temperature falls, the ice age begins, then the climate gradually warms, and so on, in a circle. It can take millions of years to go through the full cycle. The Wilson cycle occurs because of the continuous movement of the continents. It is believed that they have already converged into a single continent several times. Pangaea is the last supercontinent, and diverged back. Territorial transformations change the climate of the planet, and when Pangaea converges, the weather becomes as warm as possible. When it diverges, the temperature drops and the ice age gradually sets in. Dinosaurs lived during the Mesozoic era, which lasted between 251–66 million years ago. Over 185 million years, the climate transformed, following the next Wilson cycle. To trace its changes, it is useful to consider each period of the Mesozoic era separately. Before the Triassic period, the Earth on the planet was a single continent, Pangaea. The Triassic begins just at the moment when it began to split into continents. At that time, they were already inhabited by the first species of dinosaurs. The planet's climate was warm. In the coldest parts of the Earth, the temperature was only a few degrees below zero. At the equator, temperatures could reach 50 degrees. Most areas were tropics, where dozens of species of ferns grew. Rain was rare, but the dry climate did not prevent vegetation from spreading. On land, most life was reptilian, with the most common species being nodosaurs, ichthyosaurs, placodonts, and aseptosaurs. However, the main life boiled in a single ocean, in the middle of which was Pangaea. There lived large predators, continued to develop mollusks, algae, and other organisms. The gradual drying up of most of the inland seas and the increasing salt concentration in the remaining seas presented additional difficulties for land dwellers. Between the Permian and Triassic periods, the Permian extinction began, during which about 25% of marine animals disappeared. It was most likely triggered by the fact that the ocean structure was changing due to the movement of the continents. Because of this, land creatures gradually gained an evolutionary advantage. By the beginning of the Jurassic, the continents still resembled a single entity, but shallow seas were beginning to form between them. The climate remained the same as in the Triassic, warm tropics. About 183 million years ago, however, there was a massive volcanic eruption that caused the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere to increase dramatically. The overall temperature on the planet gradually increased by 5 degrees. Because of the change in the composition of the air, the number of precipitation increased several times. Heavy rains appeared, washing mineral substances into the oceans. Because of this, algae and aquatic bacteria began to greatly increase in population. The rainfall caused tall trees to begin to appear in addition to ferns, and the number of vegetation types increased. Living things also changed seriously throughout the Jurassic period. Underwater inhabitants acquired gills, and the ocean floor was actively filled with oysters and clams. As for the land, it was finally taken over by dinosaurs, divided into carnivores and herbivores. Mammals, in turn, divided into marsupials, bird-like animals, and placentals. Elevated temperatures were maintained from 174 to 166 million years ago. Then a gradual cooling began, even creating icy patches of land. Around 155 million years ago, overall temperatures began to rise, but by the end of the Jurassic period, cooling returned. At the beginning of the Cretaceous, the continents were already far apart. Africa, India, America and Australia were diverging in different directions, with modern oceans appearing between them. The planet's temperature continued to gradually decline. From the beginning of the Cretaceous period until 114 million years ago, its average gradually fell by 5 degrees. After 20 million years, the volcanoes of the Indian Ocean erupted, pulling most of the oxygen out of the ocean waters. This triggered the extinction of most aquatic species related to ichthyosaurs. The Earth continued to cool. 70 million years ago, the South and North Poles were already covered with snow. In winter, the temperature in some parts of the planet could drop to 10 degrees Celsius, and somewhere the figure reached 45 degrees Celsius. Species that failed to adapt to the cold gradually began to disappear. However, if the dinosaurs had difficulties because of the cold, plants did not prevent them from developing. During the Cretaceous period, various species of flowers and petal plants spread rapidly across the Earth. This, in turn, provoked the appearance of a large number of insects. Toward the end of the Cretaceous period, dinosaurs no longer dominated the Earth. Because of the drop in temperature and regular harsh winters, some species disappeared and were replaced by other animals better adapted to survive in cold conditions. It is they who will gradually replace the dinosaurs on the planet. One of these would become their closest descendants, birds. At the end of the period, 66 million years ago, the Cretaceous catastrophe occurred. For some reason, there was a sharp extinction of most animals and plants. Dinosaurs ceased to exist. The surviving animals adapted and continued to survive in the current climate, which gradually became as similar as possible to today's climate. During the 185 million years that the dinosaurs lived, the climate gradually changed from hot to cold. This is due to the splitting of the single continent of Pangaea into several continents. While initially the temperature rarely dropped to minus and the climate resembled the warm tropics, during the last million years of dinosaur life, the planet experienced cold winters every year. Thank you for watching this video to the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. See you soon.